A few years ago, I watched some videos about good video games, and there were many games I did know, but also many I didn't know of back then. One of the games was Titanfall, but I didn't know that back then, of course. A few years later, I had some leftover money loaded up to my Steam account, and I was looking through games on sale. There I saw a game which looked familiar, Titanfall 2. I looked at the trailer and saw that the game had a single-player campaign. I was a bit skeptical, but then I saw a YouTube video saying that Titanfall 2 has one of the best single-player campaigns ever for a shooter. So I tried it for myself. But is it really that good? Let's find out. This is how I played through Titanfall 2. After I bought and installed Titanfall, I wanted to start it up, but a bad message appeared. I had to download the goddamn EA launcher, and I hated it through and through. First, I couldn't make a new account with my Steam account because you can't link them in the window which pops up. You have to go to the website. But after I allowed access to my Steam account, EA wanted to verify my email, so they sent a code. But the code never came. It never reached my email. After that I tried around 1,000 things, like switching emails or just logging in somehow anyways. I could do it with another email and the EA app opened. But it said I didn't own Titanfall 2. So I deleted this freaking app and Titanfall altogether and cried in a corner for a while. A bit later I tried again. I downloaded Titanfall, then the EA app. I linked my Steam and EA account and I could open the game. Finally. But this has nothing to do with the quality of the game. This is a call out to EA because they can't get their shit together and just allow a Steam game with a Steam account. Their app also runs in the background when you close it and it starts up automatically. It also wants to send some data to EA, so I denied and turned off anything in the freaking EA app. Okay, but let's get to the actual game. Now we will look at the story from Titanfall 2, but I won't spoil anything and just talk about the beginning. Titanfall begins with this really cool cinematic explaining what a pilot is and what they are capable of. But sadly the cinematic ends and you do some training for being a pilot. But you realize you aren't actually a pilot, just a normal soldier, and everything was simulated. A bit later you already have to drop into your mission where you and many others have to fight in a battle against some robots. You get attacked by a Titan, but a pilot from your team rescues you and helps you to survive. You black out from a liquid the pilot injected into you and you wake up again. But you don't have a lot of time to think because an alien creature tries to eat you whole. Luckily the Titan BT-7274 saves you. Sadly, you see his pilot isn't in good shape and he wants you to take his gear and his Titan and go back to the others. You take his last request and make your way through this planet's fauna and flora to get to the others. And yeah, that's basically the story of Titanfall 2. I won't tell you anything more story related because I won't spoil you. But watch out in the gameplay section because I will talk about some cool areas further ahead. Let's talk about the graphics for a second. The graphics are good enough and they run real easy on my computer, even at the highest settings. Titanfall was made in the Source engine, like Half-Life 2. While playing I didn't notice this at all, but the super accurate bullets are a trait you see in Half-Life 2. Titanfall goes for a realistic but still stylized art style and it looks fine for the most part, but it has some washed out colors sometimes which I don't really like. In that regard, Apex Legends looks a lot better. The levels are designed very well and smart with little to no waiting in it, especially in your first playthrough. It also has its set pieces with grand areas and interesting structures. So Titanfall won't be the best looking game, but its world makes up for that in the most part. Let's talk about the excellent gameplay. You have wall runs, slides, double jumps and many more moves which you can combine and chain together to defeat all of the enemies the quickest or coolest way. Like Half-Life 2, there are some areas focused on combat and others on platforming, so you have some variety. Even if you aren't that good at moving around, you still feel and look pretty cool. But if you already are decent at the standard movement, you can try things like slide hopping or wall kicking to really spice it up. The weapons are really fun to use and you don't really need to aim down sights at all because the weapons are always pretty accurate. But for long distances, aiming down sights can really help. The system for the weapons is also really simple. You can take 2 weapons of every type with you and one kind of throwable. If you run out of ammo, you either have to look for ammo or just take a new weapon with you. Through that you will switch your weapons regularly and try some new ones. If you explore some areas, you can even find very strong weapons which make some sections easier, but just so long you have ammo for them. I like all the weapons besides one, the smart pistol, because it's way too overpowered because you have basically aimbot, and the weapon does a lot of damage. Related to the story, I find a very weak weapon would have been a better choice for this section, but let's go to the biggest weapon of them all, your Titan. You find different loadouts for your Titan throughout the story, which change the weapon and all of the abilities you have. A Titan loadout has 2 abilities, most of them with some cooldown after using them, and a big core attack, which you can load up by killing enemies. As a Titan you can dash with some cooldown and you have a real health bar which doesn't regenerate. To stack up on health, you either have to find some batteries on the ground or you have to exit your Titan and pick them up and bring them back. But if your health bar reaches 0, you aren't quite dead, because you still have some very fragile health, which you can turn into regular health again by picking up batteries. So the Titans are a really cool addition to the game, and you even make a bond to your Titan in the story. It's just a little sad that there are just bosses in Titans but you could just exit your Titan and fight them on foot if you really want to. Watch out, because I will talk about two of the coolest missions in Titanfall, so there will be spoilers for the rest of the video. This mission is very cool because you are in this big underground facility and you are on a factory line. At the beginning you don't know what they are building, but soon you find out that they are building houses. You ride on the platform the house is building on from place to place, but soon you find out that they are building a whole neighborhood on some strips, which will be pushed into place to form a battleground in a simulation dome. But the coolest part is you first climb up the houses as they are sticking out of the side, and after that you can enter them right side up to fight in them. This part was the absolute coolest part in the whole campaign and one of the best in any video game I ever played. I don't really know why, but this just impressed me so much. This is the mission which probably many find really cool. In this mission you get a device to change from the present to the past at any time you want, and it's really well done. The enemies in both timelines are different, and the enemies will acknowledge that you are just disappearing and appearing for them. Some sections require you to switch really fast, but as a player you learn what things really change, so you know fire isn't present in the past, but lasers are turned off in the future, which keeps confusion to a minimum. There's also a really cool Half-Life Easter egg in there. So now you can decide if you buy the game yourself or you know why I find Titanfall 2 so great, even if EA made it worse than it had to be. There will be some more Titanfall videos in the future, so stay tuned and like and subscribe. If you also want to play a game which I made myself, you can check out Skyscratcher on itch.io for free. Bye bye!